You may have heard of Kung Fu, Judo or Jiu-Jitsu, but have you ever heard of Victorian Bartitsu? Well, get your canes at the ready, because one group is travelling back in time to the dangers of the 19th century streets.
Bat and right started it all as a means of self-defence. There was a lot of stuff in the press, like nowadays. Every single generation is like, oh, crime is on the rise, it's so dangerous to be out on the streets alone. So Bat and Right cottoned onto this and was like, right, we need some new self-defence. And yeah, it was a way for gentlemen and ladies to defend themselves against common street thugs and all the gangs and the marauders who were, according to the newspapers, were absolutely everywhere and so brutal.
But how did the movement come about?
And he had just finished travelling around Japan and he'd learned some jiu-jitsu over there. Then he decided to expand on that slightly, and rather than just using jiu-jitsu, he decided to combine that with other martial arts like boxing, French kickboxing, known as savate, and walking stick, cane self-defense. So then when he put all of those together, he obviously stole part of the name jiu-jitsu, combined it with his own name, and we got Bartitsu.
It became popularised by one of Britain's great crime detectives,
which then ended up becoming famous through the works of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle as the way that Sherlock Holmes defeated Moriarty and managed to not die when he brought him back after he was supposedly already dead.
I don't feel like I'm Sherlock. I'm a bit of a Sherlock Holmes fan, so there is, it's kind of quite cool to be learning sort of, that the same sort of fighting as Sherlock Holmes. But yeah, I feel very much more like sort of a bit of a gent of the period rather than more of a Sherlock character.
Most people are attracted to the martial arts for its historical background.
Yeah, well, I am a historian and archaeologist, so that kind of really, that's one of the main appeals to it over sort of, say, doing judo or a more modern martial art, is I really enjoy the kind of the research element and that sort of window on the past as well. It kind of brings it to life in a completely different way.
Bartitsu also played a key role in getting women the vote.
Some of Bat and Right's students, who then became his instructors, they then went on to teach themselves. And one of them, a lady called Edith Garrett, she started training suffragettes in jiu-jitsu on how to defend themselves against police officers and everything when they were rioting to try and get women the vote. So then that's how we now get the term suffragitsu, because suffragettes were actually learning jiu-jitsu as a way to fight the fight.
And 100 years on, Bartitsu is providing an accessible way to get into a new kind of self-defense.
This is a way of teaching people both like the historical side of things, so if they're not really fighty and they're not properly combative or energetic, there's the history element, which makes it so much more entertaining. But then they're still also learning martial arts at the same time. And in York, it's such a lovely, safe place. You don't really need that much self-defense, but people like learning this stuff even just for fun or as like an exercise just to make themselves a bit fitter or just to like give them something to do on an evening. And I love it so much. I was hoping other people would too, and luckily I found some like-minded people to train with. So,
from jiu-jitsu to Bartitsu, this class is one way of proving that you don't need a time machine to experience history. Kit Taylor, That's TV.